Guys, how's the crack? Bitcoin with Dinny. It's Dinny here. Someone's after spooking property investors, okay, and banks. My phone was literally hopping. Between this week and last week, the amount of bookings I've had for the Done For You, which is my high ticket option, okay? So these are all serious investors are wanting to get into the space as fast as they can. They want me to set up everything for them, and they're coming into the space not with 500 quid, not with 5 grand, but serious money, okay? This is what you got to pay attention to, okay? If that sounds good, hit the like button. We'll have a little chat about it. Guys, good day, good evening, good night, good morning, depending on when you're catching this. I was in the office this morning and just heading down to the gym now on day 2 of my 5-day fast, feeling good. Going to do a nice handy workout in the gym. Well, I'll call it handy. But we'll be getting a bit of work done, don't you worry. So property investors are spooked. Now why would they be spooked? It's like this. So hands up here if you read the Bitcoin Standard. Stick in the comments if you did. If you read the Bitcoin Standard and you understood the Bitcoin Standard, which for me that meant reading it 3 times. Okay, not back to back to back, but reading it, you know, living my life for 6 months or a year and then go back to it and reading it again, living my life for a year or so and then going back to it again. So I've read the Bitcoin Standard 3 times and each time I absorbed more from it. The first time I read it, I was Googling words every paragraph. It was so difficult for me. But this is the beauty of learning stuff. Even the dyslexics like me can learn this stuff and understand it. But the Bitcoin Standard is basically like the Almanac. It's like in Back to the Future when he finds that magazine with all the predictions. If you read the Bitcoin Standard and you actually understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin and the technical aspects of Bitcoin, you know, then you've a very good idea of where the space trends and how this all works out. And this is why, you know, for 4 years I've been making predictions that are just coming true, and all my future predictions will come true in the future. I'm almost certain of that. So if you haven't read the Bitcoin Standard, maybe read it. And if you don't have time to read it, hire someone who'll teach you everything that's in it, because it's important stuff. But in the Bitcoin Standard, okay, where I'm going with this is, why would a property investor, if you own, let's say you have 10 million worth of property, life's good, you're rich, why should you pay any attention to Bitcoin? You see, there's a problem now. You owned what was the pristine property, the desirable property, okay, the best source of property. But now the game's changed. Now there's a new type of property, and it's better than your property, and it's going to demonetize your property. So this has happened time and time again through history. Back in Africa, okay, the reason Africa is in the mess it's in, still to this day, is because they held on to the wrong property for too long, okay? So what happened in Africa is, let's say they're trading glass beads, that's your currency, that's your money. And then next minute, these foreigners start showing up and they've got this shiny rock. People are calling it gold. You don't really understand it. Can't buy anything with it. You prefer the glass beads, you know what they are. You know what they're for. You're comfortable with them. They make sense to you. Everyone uses them. They're popular. But this guy with the dumb rock, the shiny rock, fast forward a couple of years and he owns the whole country. Because you stayed with an inferior property that got demonetized, because glass beads is not as hard a source of money as gold. Just like gold is not as hard as source of money as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is far superior than gold in its hardness, meaning its scarcity. Anyone can mine gold. In 100 years we'll still be finding gold. In fact, we'll probably be much better at mining gold. In just over 100 years we'll not be mining any more Bitcoin. No one will be able to find Bitcoin, and no human can change that. So that's why the money, the wealth, and the same with property. Like, property is scarce, houses, but like, we can always build more. And we're getting better at building them. You know, so it's not really scarce. You can always build more. You can always find more. But property as an asset class is going to be demonetized, meaning it's going to lose its monetary value, which means if you are rich and you're rich in property and you ignore digital property, well, over a generation you're going to lose all your wealth, and your kid's going to say to you, like, what's the crack? I thought we were rich. How come we're not rich? How'd you screw this up? How'd you lose all the money? And you'll have to say, well, we were rich, but then I invested in the 20th century. And they'll say, okay, and when was this that you invested into the 20th century? In the 21st century. And then they'll say, alright, that wasn't very smart. In the 21st century you're investing in the past. Don't you know that investing is all about investing into the future, seeing where the world is going, where it's trending, not where it is or where it was. Come on. And you'll have lost all the money. And that won't be good. And they won't be happy to, and you'll not get many visitors in the retirement home or wherever you are. What a crude analogy, but hopefully it makes a bit of sense to you. So there's a better source of property around than physical property, just like there's a better source of music around than CDs and records. You know them things we used to carry them around? Why don't we carry them anymore? Well, there's a better version of it. It's a digital version. It's much better. And that's why they got demonetized and they lost all their value. And if you were someone who stockpiled CDs when their price was going down, well, you were an idiot because you didn't see where the world was going. And now you've lost all your money and you're sitting on something that's worthless. And unfortunately, that's going to happen to gold investors, that's going to happen to property investors, and that's going to happen to people who hold on to currencies. And it's been happening for 14 years with volatility, and it's going to continue to happen for another 14 years. But something spooked these people. Because literally just this week, I don't know what it was, there must have been some news in one of the property magazines or articles of like, take Bitcoin seriously, people. Because yeah, my consultancy has literally been booked up for about 4 weeks now, all with big property investors looking to get in as fast as possible. And another thing I got was just got a message off someone who works in a bank, and they're looking at data. He's like, I won't tell you which bank I work for, but this and this and this give me metrics on what's happening with Bitcoin. And I'm like, that's all public knowledge, those Bitcoiners follow this stuff for years, but you can see the banks are paying attention to it now, the fact that it's coming up in their meetings, and they want to keep it a secret as if it's not out there, but they're paying attention. All the big asset classes are paying attention. Remember, my job is to try and teach you to study Bitcoin, to incentivize you to study it. If you need help, I'll teach you, I'll set it all up for you. But it's to try and, just push you to go, everything here in the media is wrong, just like most of the public health advice you got was wrong, okay? You got to do the work for yourself, you got to figure this stuff out for yourself, and you'll be rewarded for that. So, anyway, off to the gym. Hit the like button, throw a comment in if you read the Bitcoin Standard. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me in one line what you got from it. Let's see, can you summarise it? Boom, Dinny out.